Yeah, I mean, in the past, maybe the big carriers were less an ideal partner for small startups because we think like in a long-term perspective, have huge capital investments, and so our plans are more long-term. So we definitely need to work on making this speedy process. And we definitely know that, joint value creation is very important for us, and partnering is a strategic topic for Deutsche Telekom. And therefore, we have like 2-3 main building blocks. First of all, we have definitely the venture arm, where we seek for new companies, where we put some money in and try to find out synergies between their business and Deutsche Telekom's business. Secondly, we definitely have this R&D focus where we cooperate on basic stuff with universities in Silicon Valley and in Israel, for example. And thirdly, we have the partnering program, which is easy to partner with us. So we named it like Easy to Partner program, where we build a website, a portal, so one face where innovative companies and entrepreneurs can connect to Deutsche Telekom, and where they have a fast process to decide on their projects.
You've seen a lot of changes over time. The industry's changed enormously. I think there's a lot of cost pressure coming from the outside, from the what we call the over-the-top providers these days.
Yep.
So my focus of my activities has changed dramatically over the last decade. And whereas I used to look for innovation that generated dramatic increases in revenue, these days we're more interested in innovation that can deliver substantial improvements in customer experience, and at the same time potentially game-changing economic benefits for the carrier and the supply chain behind it.
So then the question of obviously how do we bring all these innovators? There's been guys who come saying I have this excellent game, I like to sell to your consumers. But if you try to go, then some guy comes and says, look, I have this service which tells you any taxi number based on where you are, right? But how do you interface all these guys? It's even for a small network like ours, compared to you guys, it's still a huge challenge, right? So this is where we launched an app store, and it's state of art. And it's an SDP interface with all the network sites, giving excellent, like a web portal.
So service delivery platform, SDPs.
Yeah, a service delivery platform, cloud enabled. So everything is on the cloud. So it's easy for me. And developers come in, they download, the tools. They have the APIs, the tools, simulators, the works. And they develop what they want. They test it, and they're happy. They give it to us. We test it. And completely different cycle, which makes it is very easy. And the best thing is we said you have 70%.
Now, what we have learned in the last few years, though, is that any new experience will only start small. And so I think that's where we have seen the value of engaging with entrepreneurs early. There's a few different ways. I would say the developer community is probably one of the biggest efforts right now, right? Where we are proactively engaging with developers. We started out with 2 people on the West Coast in San Francisco 2 years ago. Now we have a whole team proactively reaching out. We have a lab there focused on innovation, in addition to the network lab that we have had in Walton Creek. We have people looking specifically at certain verticals or certain new lines of new business, right? Where we are saying there's probably some partnership opportunities with large carriers, I should say with large companies. But then there's also opportunities for smaller companies to fill in the gaps with something that is very unique, like a niche place. And a combination of large partnerships and smaller companies filling in the gaps makes for good innovation for a company like ours. So the place for what I would call, anecdotally half-baked is the App Store. Right? It's completely open, right? There is a 70% rev share.
Right.
Go engage with the consumer directly, as long as you don't break the phone and break the network. Do what you want to do, right? And we will not come in the way. Okay? Completely open platform, very transparent terms. And so that's the opportunity for half-baked stuff to be exposed to the consumer, and the consumer to say, I like it or I don't.
Yes.
But the app stores, it's just one side of the story. There's a lot of innovation in technology and so on, which needs to work in the network. And the ultimate goal is to have the network as a platform. And to develop this, I think you definitely need to be able to test stuff. So to have kind of an abstraction layer where you have like the small companies to be able to quickly test, and you have lots of tests running. And you see this in the Valley. The culture is really try it out and see whether it works. And we definitely need to have this kind of sandbox as well.
I focus all of my time and attention on things that actually change customer experience and potentially radically impact cost structures. And that's not actually a very popular target of investment of the venture capital community. So one of the things that we have to do as players is figure out deals that we can actually syndicate with the traditional tier 1 venture firms, because what does a good venture capital company do is their domain expertise is creating huge companies out of tiny little companies. Right? I mean, that's their domain expertise. We bring a lot of the complementary assets that enable that, and somehow though we have to figure out how to work together. And I'm finding it increasingly difficult to syndicate some of the things that I'm interested in with the traditional venture capital industry. So,
I mean, it is easy and hard at the same time. I mean, I think it is easy because now there's a level playing field. Okay, anybody can be an app developer. Anybody can go to our website and take the billing API and the presence API and the location API and plug that in, and you have an application that has a lot of snaz in it, right? Easy, right? The problem is 10 other people are doing the exact same thing.
Yes.
Okay, so in the past, if you got into the door and talked to that product manager for WAP or for whoever, who had the Brew ecosystem and you got in first, you were in. Now, there's no such thing as first or second.
Yes.
10 people can do it concurrently. So in that sense, it's easy and it's hard. Now, what happens though is that there's still going to be, a class of applications and developers that will graduate to being close partners, co-brand partners with the operator.
Right.